Hi friends, today I will tell you a story that teaches us important things. Watch the video to the end, it will be interesting. Claire was born into a well-to-do family, but she was an unexpected child. My parents had just graduated from university a couple of years ago, and their main goal at the time was a career, and I still wanted to live for myself. At the time, they were still very much helped by well-off parents, so the pregnancy fell on them like snow on their heads. Rich grandparents and did not want to hear about abortion and set a condition, either a granddaughter or no help. Claire learned independence very early. At 5 years old, she could already stay at home alone. The child, in fact, did not know the parental love. 2 years later, when Claire went to school, she had a little sister, Britney. This child was expected. My parents had already risen quite high on the career ladder, so they could afford it. As time went on, the little sister was bought only the best, a lot of expensive toys, clothes, sweets and much more. The eldest, looking at all this, quietly cried at night in her crib about what she had never had and would never have. Britney was forgiven for any pranks and pranks as a result. It is quite possible to imagine what kind of character Britney became. After graduating from high school, Claire, completely on her own, entered one of the best universities in the country and was unspeakably glad that she was given a room in a hostel, where she immediately moved out of the house and took all her things. Her parents didn't even seem to notice her disappearance. The first call 3 days after the relocation was from her mother. The girl was very happy to call, wanted to tell her mother about her impressions, but she immediately interrupted her and only asked if she planned to return home, and if not, then her room would be given to Britney. Claire sat for a few minutes and stared at the phone in her hands. She should have been used to this by now, but this time it was as if the ground had fallen out from under her feet. Today I will tell you a story that teaches us important things. Claire graduated from the university with honors, and in her last year she was bombarded with job offers with an appropriate salary. Britney did not go to school. Her parents hired her the best tutors, but it did not help much. She passed the exams with grief in half. After a few years, Claire graduated and found a very good job. And then one day, when it was a day off and she was at home, her phone rang and it was her mother. "Mom, hi, I'm so glad you called." The girl probably never was so happy, but the joy quickly faded when my mother began to say that because of the crisis, the companies in which she and her father worked went bankrupt. They had almost no savings. They had to sell all the cars, all the property, to somehow pay off the debt. Britney was kicked out of school for failing, and they needed money. Claire has always been known for her kindness and responsiveness, so she immediately transferred a large sum to her parents. And then Claire wanted to find her family in social networks. There were no pages of mom and dad, and she found her sister right away. After seeing the photos, Claire couldn't believe what she was seeing. The photos depicted a rich life, from restaurants, photos with a car that seemed to have been sold for debt, and much more, with the caption "Dad gave," and all the photos were posted as soon as Claire transferred the money. And then Claire decided not to send another dime to her parents. 3 days later, my mother called again and asked me to transfer more money. Then Claire said what she thought, and then pressed the end call button and turned off the phone. Tears were streaming from her eyes, and she knew she was doing the right thing. Claire changed her phone number so that she wouldn't have to listen to hurtful words from people close to her anymore. Soon, Claire's family had to sell everything in order not to lose the business, but they did not succeed. In the end, they bought a one-room apartment and lived there as a threesome. But this might not have happened if the parents had spent more time with their eldest daughter. This story teaches us that you need to love your children equally. You do not need to single out your favorites. So Britney did not achieve anything in life, and Claire became a rich and successful girl.